since we did the last video, I've done a bit of work on the main elements to block them in, because all the time when you just change one thing, it still affects the whole picture. So since the last video, I've basically sharpened up the image on this ship, which is of course a distant ship. So, and then this has to be much more forward of this. So I blocked in the main areas there to help. And the really crucial part is going to be here. This little headland has got to really stand out ahead of that ship. So probably what I'm going to do is put some small detail on here. This is just to give it scale, like this. I mean, it'll be different from this, but it could be something like this, you see, look, with a pylon. And already that's beginning to give that a bit of scale. I'm not going to put figures in, or certainly not on there at this stage. And then this is really just to sharpen it up like this. So that's that. But now, of course, I'd always debated the third ship because it needed, and that's why I left this space down here. So I tinkered, but I had an old cutout. This is exactly how I rough out ships sometimes. It's really a bit of a photo montage and bits and pieces, but I really like the colours and I like the shape. But of course it's too big. You know, you might have got away with it here, for example, probably, but I liked that openness, and also I wanted the speed. So that is the ideal size, but these could be the colours. So what I've done is, first of all, I planned the shape like that. Then, using an overlay, I transferred it to a piece of card like this. So that is more or less, you see, the lines have to be dynamic. So these are all the lines which will help build up to an exiting ship. And then that will be the next stage. And then, to cover myself, at some stage, this mask will go on, and that means I can airbrush the spaceship a bit like this. Do you see there's an airbrush effect there and there? So then I can safely airbrush the ship without damaging the background. And similarly, to get it to sit into space, I've got that, and then I can go over that to knock it back a bit, and that goes on once the detail's been on. So the next stage will be to start to transfer the line work to this. So in fact, what I can do is, what I will have to do is, it's a bit tiny there. So there it is on there, but what I've got to do is put some tape on to hold it down onto the. Here we go. So that's the reason for cutting it out a bit like this. And again, I'm still using bog basic builder's masking tape, which is nice and weak. You don't want it too strong. So all I've got to do is to take the back off. So you don't need that. You don't need that. That is going to go on like that. Well, I'll hold it there like that for a minute, and then this is going to go on. So what I'm going to do is basically put this up to there to match up to this, like that. There. And then just hold it in place for a quick minute with tape, like that. And then transfer down this front part. That way I can remember what the perspective is. There. So that bit we can do, but let me just look. I was hoping I had some templates somewhere. Favourite template. You can now enlarge it a bit. I want a straight edge. These are the perspective lines, which of course won't show in the painting. Classic example of how you should organise things, and I never do, and then I can't find them. And then I can get the template, and then you see, look, we've got that, which looks quite interesting. But now I want to keep that roundness. That's about right. And then you bring that down like this. I should really do this freehand. I always used to, but I'm getting quite lazy. And it's so easy with these things. They're called French curves. Goodness only knows why. Yeah. That will more or less do. I'll have to straighten it out a bit. There, and then this will come up like this. So you're getting the basic structure lines going in. There, that's quite nice. There's that bit. Then this can stay up there like that. And the centre section can come out. If we hold this in. And this is a quick and easy way just to transfer the shape onto the physical painting. There, so in fact we'll just do it like this. There, and that's all the upper structure. So this is just quite an important structural line, that one. Once I've got that in, I know what's going on up to a point. And then it's quite easy just to pop that in, more or less like that. I'll just sketch it very loosely at this stage. Then we will do the perspective line again, which is not, you see, look, that's the line of the jet blast, so in a way I've changed the ship. So what am I going to do? Who knows? Yeah, you see, look, that, it should be like that. So let's put that in like that. At this stage, it's quite easy to correct it. And then this guy comes to bits. And that gives us...
Show me the bits coming apart, huh?
There.
I can't see.
There, how's that? Look, this comes to bits, like this. And that will fit on there, like that. And in fact, I'm just going to hold it there at this stage. There it goes, look. There's that, pop that in like that. And then I know what those are, so I can put them in like this now, but very, very loosely, like that. And then, with a bit of luck, I had that guy. So this is like some sort of an entry port. So you've got to make sure it's vertical. Do I want it as big as that? Not really. Let's have it this size. There, you see, look, lovely oval. I deliberately did the perspective because I've only got these ovals here. They're awfully useful, these templates. Make life much easier. So that looks about vertical. That's about it. Oh dear. That's not supposed to happen. There we go. There's that. Ah, look, and now we're getting a shape. So this is some sort of entry port. I wish I had a few more of these shapes. And then this will streamline in like this. At least now I sort of know what I'm doing. Ha ha. There, you see, look. Now it's beginning to work in terms of the shape. Then let's do this through like this. then these are like little jet nozzles down here, I think. So that I'm going to have to sketch in freehand. I always end up having to correct it with the paint. These, I love these. These are like rocket nozzles, you know, for the thing to, I mean, they're huge. So obviously it would really make this little chap jump around, you know, in a low gravity situation. Maybe they're so big because it operates on planets with a very high gravitational pull. And they need that to overcome the atmosphere. That could well be the reason for it. Because this obviously is a little shuttle jack-in-the-box type thing. Then here's the back bit. These guys will go on like that. There. And that, you see, look, the shape is now. And then let's have a look at what I did. That's the centre section.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, I've made it a bit different, but it doesn't really matter. I think it sort of works quite well, actually, like that. And then we use this guy. I really, really like this particular French curve. It's got all the permutations that sort of suit me. That's about it. A lot of people were selling off their old drawing office equipment. This would be years ago now. And I have got some beautiful things because computers came along and really talented draftsmen suddenly, I wouldn't say they were put out of business because the companies kept them on, but a great friend of mine was an aerospace designer, and of course he had to convert to computers, and he's given me the most beautiful sets of drawing equipment, you know, beautiful stainless steel pens and things. And the other day I was marvelling at this steam locomotive drawing dating from the 30s, and it was for one of the A4 Pacifics, and the detail in it and the measurements, it seems to have been a totally comprehensive plan. And of course that whole thing would have been done on paper in a drawing office, on a big drawing board. And the skill and the neatness and the precision was fantastic. So we're beginning to get a shape now. There we go. And it's beginning to make sense. And this one down the bottom. This would be, they don't quite line up, so maybe I should adjust it a bit. It's a nice thing you can do when you oil paint the background. It's very strong and resilient. There. Now let's do this at the top. Yeah. It's all beginning to come together, isn't it? Because that, oh, we'll leave it like that for a minute. And then let's pop this on like this. although I might not paint them in, this really is to help me with the perspective. This is just a perspective line like this now. Apparently, parallel lines meet in space.
What does that mean?
That's what I would have thought. I thought parallel lines should stay parallel forever. But technically, someone's obviously calculated they meet in space.
The curve of the earth.
Who knows? Yeah. Now this is the upper bit. So again, I'm going to revert. Let's have a look at my little sketch. There's the nose. Where's the upper bit? Oh, no. This is why it makes sense to be a bit more organised. What we're looking for is that bit.
What?
Oh, there it is. Yep, here we go. Now these windows set the size of the thing. That's the whole point of that.
The holes.
Yeah, no, the windows.
Oh.
They actually set it off.
There's that bit.
That. And you know what I'm going to do? This is not strictly necessary, but I'm going, because that way I can be completely accurate. I'm going to, you see, that's the overlay, and that was the windows on the overlay. And because the size of them is actually quite important in creating the size of the ship. The windows really are the things that give it movement. There, now I'm happy with that. You see, look, I can fiddle just a bit. Do I want it down? No, you see, that's too far down like that. So that's why it's quite useful, having a little template thing. You can wiggle it till you're happy with it. Now that, to me, looks about right. There. Look, I'm happy with that. Aye. It can be adjusted, of course. They always are. Like this. And now, that can sort of go in. There. Now we're getting somewhere. Let's use our trusty old Mr. Template. I find the templates terribly restful. Look, you can fiddle till you're completely happy with the curve. I used to make the most dreadful mess trying to get that, and I must find it. When I worked for Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the other designers who did work on paper gave me his sketch for something, and it was a mass of lines slowly being refined. But it was very skillful. I got it somewhere, keep it with great affection. Now this is just to make the size of it seem relevant. Like just some portholes. There, you see, look, now we really are in business. That's roughly speaking the centre line. That's purely for my benefit. And I like the way it sort of sits on top as if it's been dropped on, which it probably would be when they built it. So these lines are simply, they're not necessarily going to appear in the final painting, but they're there as a guide to the shape. So they can be quite faint. And then about now, I like to put in something interesting so we can have some sort of a gizmo here or something. Goodness knows, maybe it's an airlock, something like that. So that's going to be some sort of gizmo to distract you. You see, that's really rather a mess, but by whacking the paint on top, we'll be all right. You see, that's really just to help the thing go along a bit, you know, makes it have a bit more. And then, now, we can make this thing sit up there properly. There, you see, look, this can, I love ships' superstructures. I'm fascinated by them, especially giant cargo ships. And they have this tower, which is slowly gets hidden by all the containers. Well, that will do me, you see, look. And it's probably got something there. Now that is the top. Then this. Quite often I divide these things up into checks. Don't know if I'll do it on this one. By putting in checks, you give it a shape and you save yourself the hassle of putting in detail to show the curvature. There, this is beginning to make sense now. It might be fun to put in a big gizmo in here. I'm not saying I will, but look, it could have something quite big in there, which would make it interesting, wouldn't it? You know, if we shaded that, goodness knows what it is, a great big mechanical device. Quite like the idea of this, and then maybe if it's like some sort of mechanical, it wouldn't be a gun, but it could stick out. Goodness knows what it is. There, look, could have a bit of fun with this. There, makes it a bit more interesting on the side. And then this is, that shape, it should be more a concave bit. So about now, I sort of shade it just a bit to help myself understand what's going on. Aye. Then again, you get your lovely, lovely Mr. Template. Makes it all so easy. There, you see, that's the shadow in there. Goes without saying, painting anything, it's the shadow that gives it the depth. And that's painting anything. So look, this is just a guide. There. And then of course this, you have to do this so people know that it's proud of that. And then you see you get some nice little places here. I don't know what's going to go on here. Some nice little indents or something. Gonna have to whack a lot of paint on because the ink comes through the paint.
You never want to use pencil to do that then?
No, it doesn't really stand out, and it smudges. This is good old-fashioned ballpoint pen.
So you always use pen then?
Well, it depends on the job, really. You know, really does depend on the job. But look, I'm beginning to get a feel for this now. I think, and then this is I'm gonna have to modify the front a bit. I think that should have a feature a bit like, I rather like that feature on there. If I could have that on the front, I think that would look quite nice. I might do something like that. Well, that is basically more or less ready for the paint. So what I might do, just to protect the background, is to put this on There, look, put this on, and then I could whack the paint in without damaging the background too much. There, look. And this is just tape, and you just hold it down like this. It's just a hole with masking tape.
Why are you colouring them in those holes?
No, I'm rubbing the
Oh, the
masking
tape.
tape on.
I
Yeah,
see.
it's masking tape, but you've got to, otherwise you don't want right in the middle of the job to have the mask drop off.
I see.
But you don't want to do it too hard because you want to reuse it. So you only get one go because you put one thing of tape on. So just to be safe, again, nice weak, builder's masking tape, good strong oil paint. So let's put this on here. And that means you can be fairly aggressive and even airbrush it. And then you'll have the moment of truth when you take it off. So there's that like that. All nice and ready. And it's very relaxing. When I take a simple precaution like that, which I should do more often, it makes it so much easier and more enjoyable to paint the ship because you're not worried. You see, look at this. That, you see, look, it's still got wet. It's oil paint and it's still waiting to